Let's get started. Start with listening, and then learn new words and practice them in sentences.
Have you ever found yourself in a disagreement at work and didn't know how to handle it professionally? This is a question many of us might have pondered upon at one time or another. Disagreements, differing viewpoints, and conflicts are a part of any working environment. But how these are handled can greatly impact not only the outcome of the situation, but also the overall work atmosphere and relationships within the team. Disagreements, if managed correctly, can lead to progressive discussions, innovative ideas, and improved team dynamics. On the other hand, if not handled professionally, they can create a toxic environment, leading to stress, decreased productivity, and strained relationships. The key here is to approach disagreements with tact, diplomacy, and professionalism. So how do we do this? How do we navigate the often tricky waters of workplace disagreements? Stay tuned as we delve into this topic. In this video, we will follow a character named Jane as she navigates a disagreement at her workplace. Meet Jane. She's a project manager in a tech company, and she's just encountered a disagreement with a colleague over a project timeline. Jane's workday has taken a challenging turn. Her teammate Mark is adamant that they should expedite the project to meet a looming deadline. He's motivated and eager, but his approach is causing some concern. Jane, on the other hand, is a firm believer in the importance of meticulous work. She's concerned that rushing the project could compromise its quality. She values the importance of delivering top-notch results and meeting the high standards set by their company. It's a classic workplace conundrum, the race against time versus the pursuit of excellence. This disagreement has the potential to escalate, impacting the team's dynamics and project outcome. But disagreements, contrary to popular belief, aren't necessarily a bad thing. They often lead to better ideas and solutions. The crucial part is handling them with tact and professionalism. Let's see how Jane handles this situation professionally, using some of the strategies we'll discuss. Jane feels strongly about her stance but understands the importance of expressing her disagreement politely. Imagine this situation. Jane and her colleague Mark are in a heated discussion about the direction of their project. Jane believes that the project should take a different route, but Mark disagrees. How can Jane express her disagreement without coming across as confrontational or disrespectful? Firstly, Jane acknowledges Mark's viewpoint. This is an essential step in expressing disagreement politely. By saying something like, "I see your point, Mark, and I understand where you're coming from," Jane demonstrates that she respects Mark's opinion, even though she disagrees with it. This acknowledgement sets a positive tone for the rest of the conversation and helps to prevent the discussion from escalating into an argument. Next, Jane uses polite language to express her viewpoint. Instead of saying, "You're wrong," which can be seen as combative, Jane opts for a softer approach. She might say, "While I see your perspective, I feel that there might be a better approach." This phrasing is non-confrontational and opens the door for further discussion. Throughout the conversation, Jane remains calm and composed. She avoids using negative language and focuses instead on expressing her own viewpoint rather than attacking Mark's. She might say, "I respect your opinion, Mark, but I believe that we might achieve better results if we consider a different approach." Finally, Jane invites Mark to a discussion. Rather than forcing her views onto him, she might say, "What do you think about exploring this alternative?" This approach treats the disagreement as a mutual problem to be solved, rather than a battle to be won. It shows respect for Mark's viewpoint and encourages open dialogue. By using these strategies, Jane is able to express her disagreement in a polite and respectful manner. She communicates her viewpoint effectively without causing offense or escalating the situation. Notice how Jane was able to express her viewpoint without offending Mark. Now let's move on to the next step. Now that Jane has expressed her disagreement, it's time for her to offer some constructive feedback and propose an alternative solution. Constructive feedback is about offering commentary on someone's work or behavior in a way that promotes learning and growth, rather than causing defensiveness or resentment. It's not about pointing out faults for the sake of it, but about helping each other improve and move forward. Jane knows this, and she's careful to frame her feedback in a positive, productive way. She starts by acknowledging Mark's efforts. "Mark, I see that you've put a lot of thought into this," she says. This recognition is crucial, as it shows that Jane respects Mark's work, even if she disagrees with his approach. Then she moves on to the issue at hand. Instead of saying "you're wrong" or "this won't work," she uses a more diplomatic approach. "However," she continues, "I think there might be a more efficient way to achieve our goals." This keeps the focus on the task, not on Mark himself, and invites a discussion rather than an argument. Now, it's time for Jane to present her alternative. But she doesn't just impose her idea on Mark. Instead, she proposes it as a suggestion, opening up the floor for further discussion. "What if we tried this instead?" she asks, outlining her proposed approach. This is a key aspect of offering alternatives. By framing her idea as a suggestion rather than a command, Jane is showing respect for Mark's autonomy. She's not trying to override him, but to collaborate with him. This approach fosters a sense of teamwork and shared decision-making, which is vital in any professional setting. The key here is balance. Jane is assertive but not aggressive. She's confident in her ideas but open to discussion. She's focused on the task but mindful of the relationship. By offering constructive feedback and suggesting alternatives, Jane has opened the door to a compromise. Let's see how this plays out. Jane and Mark have both expressed their viewpoints. Now, it's time to find a middle ground. Reaching a compromise is an essential part of managing workplace disagreements. It's not merely about winning an argument, but about finding a solution that respects and satisfies both parties' perspectives. Let's see how Jane and Mark navigate this crucial step. Jane begins by showing her willingness to cooperate, saying, "Mark, I appreciate your input and I believe we can find a solution that suits us both." This statement sets a positive tone, highlighting her intention to work collaboratively. Mark reciprocates, acknowledging Jane's perspective and showing his readiness to compromise. He says, "I understand where you're coming from, Jane. Let's find a way to merge our ideas." They then proceed to discuss their views, seeking points of convergence. Jane proposes, "What if we tried your idea but with a few modifications that take my concerns into account?" Mark responds, "That sounds like a good approach. Let's explore that further." This dialogue represents a crucial phase in reaching a compromise. It's a give-and-take process where both parties are willing to adjust their stances for the collective benefit. They're not just sticking to their guns or trying to impose their views on each other. Instead, they're actively seeking a shared solution. By demonstrating empathy and openness to each other's ideas, Jane and Mark create an environment conducive to compromise. They are effectively managing their disagreement, transforming it into an opportunity for collaboration and mutual understanding. Jane concludes by reaffirming the agreed-upon compromise, saying, "So, we're agreed then. We'll proceed with your idea, but with the modifications we discussed to address my concerns." Mark agrees. "Yes, that sounds like a fair compromise. I'm glad we could work this out together." By using these strategies, Jane was able to navigate her workplace disagreement professionally and effectively. This is a testament to the power of compromise in resolving conflicts and maintaining harmony in the workplace. It's not about who's right or wrong, but about working together to find the best solution for everyone involved.
Let's learn new words and practice English at level C1. Diplomacy, the skill of handling situations without causing hostility. Example, using diplomacy in a disagreement can help maintain a positive and respectful workplace atmosphere. Acknowledge, to accept or recognize someone's opinion or point of view. Example, even if you disagree, it's important to acknowledge the other person's perspective before sharing your own. De-escalate, to reduce the intensity of a conflict or disagreement. Example, if a discussion becomes heated, try to de-escalate by suggesting a short break to cool down. Concise, expressing ideas in a clear and brief way. Example, during disagreements, it's best to keep your points concise and focused to avoid unnecessary misunderstandings. Constructive, intended to help improve or make a positive impact. Example, giving constructive feedback rather than criticism can make disagreements more productive and solution-focused.